You mentioned America. Do you see America differently now?
I don't think I do, but I don't agree with their reasons for going there.
Based on your experience?
Yeah.
And how has it changed you both?
For me, coming back, it's definitely made me appreciate being back here more. I'm definitely more dedicated towards like school and things like that as opposed to I was before I left, because I realized how much more I enjoy being here as opposed to being over there. So it makes it easier to do things like study and do homework and things like that.
And what about you, Nick?
Oh, it's changed me a lot. It's kind of bittersweet that I went there. I mean, I lost a lot of friends and stuff, but at the same time, because I lost those friends, I'm a lot better at school than I would ever have been before, and every day I wake up appreciating life.
And has your view of the war and the military changed in any way? I know you mentioned it kind of did for you, Nick. What about you, Brenden?
I would say yes, it definitely has. Mostly for me, because when I was over there, my job is to deal with a lot of projects and contractors and things like that for the actual rebuilding aspect of the country. And so I dealt a lot with seeing how much money is going into projects, what we're spending money on projects and things like that, and seeing where our money is going for that, as opposed, especially when we're in such the type of economic situation we are here now. It's definitely hard to look at all the money we're spending into there as opposed to, you know, what's going on back here and kind of like accept it. It makes it a lot harder actually seeing it firsthand.
And now, do you guys feel appreciated for your services, Nick?
Within my friends and family, I do, but as a nation as a whole, I really don't feel it. I don't feel as though I should or anything, but I don't feel appreciation.
How do you think you would feel appreciated?
Just a thank you.
What about you, Brenden?
I kind of get where you're coming from. I definitely feel appreciated by my friends and family. But as far as the nation goes, it's a tough situation because it's not a popular war. So you're not going to have people who are supporting what you're doing. I feel like people support us as a military. It's just that they don't actually support what we're doing, and that's not necessarily a reflection of how they feel about us personally. I think it's more so how they feel about the decisions that are being made from more higher up in the government. So at times, I guess it can kind of feel like the nation in a sense is against us in certain ways, but I feel like it's not, like I said, it's not a personal thing. It's more the goal that we're trying to accomplish over there as opposed to us individually as service members.
So now, a couple months later, now you guys are here. What was that transition like from soldier to now regular civilian?
For me, I didn't think it was that difficult. I mean, when I was over there, I was able to stay in contact with my friends and family quite a bit through the phone or internet, emails, letters, things like that. So I was never really isolated over there to the point where transitioning back into, you know, here, going to school, going out, being around groups of people was never really an awkward transition for me, luckily.
What about you, Nick?
I felt it was just, people just didn't understand where I was coming from, and I felt that was mainly it. It was just people just didn't understand.
Right. And how did you guys decide to go back to school? Because now we're here, CSUN. How did you guys decide that?
I've already missed probably the equivalent of about 3 years of school due to military obligations. So for me, it was a no-brainer to come back. I mean, I want to graduate. I want to go and have a career. I don't want to stay in the military my whole life. So for me, coming back, finishing school is definitely the first priority the whole way. So.
And what does it feel like to be back on campus?
It's a relief. It's nice being able to come here and see my friends every day, go to class, learn new things, and it's a nice change from over there where every day at certain times it can get kind of repetitive, doing the same mission every day, doing the same thing every day. It's nice to come here and have a variety of like discussions and things like that with professors.
And what's it like for you to be back on campus?
It was just different. It was I was great. I was happy to have be able to express my opinion and everything. And
was that something that you felt you weren't able to when you were in the military?
Not as much, but I was.
And what like was there something that motivated you or inspired you to want to go back to school?
Yeah, while over there, I had always wanted to go back to school. That was my plan from the beginning. But because one of my great friends that I lost over there that was his plan. He was actually from here in the Valley, and he wanted to go to school here in Northridge. And every day, I started school in San Diego, and every time I felt like, oh, I don't feel like studying, I'm too tired and stuff like that, or I want to go out and party, I thought about these people that didn't have the chance to do that, and that's all they wanted to do. And that was my greatest motivation. It was sort of bittersweet that they had died over there, but at the same time, they were making me a better person.
Now, as veterans and students, it's like, what are some of the benefits that you receive here on campus?
The main benefit right now is priority registration. I think our registration date was today, actually. Yesterday. So it's
For
definitely
both of you?
right. So it's definitely nice to be able to register, especially with all the budget cuts and limits on classes and stuff like that. It's definitely nice to have the priority registration. And then there's also all the GI Bills options that are out there, which definitely help with money for tuition and housing and things like that.
And you mentioned the GI Bill. How much aid do you receive from that?
It's proportionally based off of how much active duty time you've served. So I think for California, the maximum, if you've served, do you know what it is for? I think it's 36 months of active duty time to get 100%. But it's based off of, I think it's around $2,200. And then however much active duty time you have, you get a percentage of that. So I think for me, I get 60%. So I get around $1,200 a month for housing and things like that.
And is that separate from tuition, or does that include that?
It's the same thing for tuition. The military pays for, same thing proportionally, 60% of for me, 60% of the tuition.
And you, Nick?
I get all my tuition paid for 100%. And I also get it depends on it's called a BAH, which is your basic allowance.
Basic allowance for housing, I think?
Yeah, basic allowance for housing. And here in the Valley, or here in Northridge, it's about $1,300, and I get paid that just so I can pay for my housing bills and stuff like that, where I don't have to worry about and just concentrate on school.
That's great. And CSUN actually has a student veterans organization. Are any of you participants of that?
No, I'm not.
Is there a reason for that?
Honestly, I wasn't really even aware that we had one.
You, Nick?
I'm not. Mainly because I have fear that people are going to bring up things that I don't want to talk about. I left the military and became a civilian, and that's what I want to do right now. I just don't want to talk about the hardships I had in war and in the Army and stuff like that.
And so following that, it's like, what are your thoughts on recruiting here on campus, based on your experiences? And
I believe it's as long as there's solicitors and any other person allowed here on campus able to sell things, I think it's okay. But just remember that they're salesmen.
Yeah, I mean, everyone has a right to be here. You see protesters all the time here on campus, so they have just as much a right to be here as everybody else does. I don't necessarily agree with it because I feel like joining the military should be a personal choice and not something that you do because somebody convinces you to do it or somebody talks you into it, because then you're not joining for the right reasons. And I mean, it's an 8-year commitment, so who knows, 4 or 5 years from now, you may look back on it and say, what was I thinking? Like, why was I listening to that guy? So I don't necessarily agree with the methods for it, but like I said, they have just as much a right to be here as any other protester or demonstrator or anything like that.
Right. You both are journalism majors, so what do you guys like about journalism?
Well, I just started taking journalism classes. I'm actually in the process of transferring over, but I've always been interested, watching the news. I want to go more into the sports aspect of it, but the production side of it too is very interesting to me, the camera setup and things like that. So.
And you, Nick?
I just remember when I was in Iraq, I saw Nick Robertson, and no one felt the way I did. And I thought I was seeing like a huge celebrity, and I ran up to him and everything and asked him tons of questions. He knew, and it was just stunned that someone was so interested in him over there. And I've always wanted to do it, but that's when I really knew that was my passion.
Do you want to do the writing aspect of it, production?
I want to work in production and just run things.